April this year saw the first BRICS Anti-Corruption Working Group meeting taking place in Moscow in Russia. This to adopt its anti-corruption program for 2024. This event was for the first time attended by new members of BRICS, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. But what are the aims and ambitions of this BRICS corruption busting group? To find out, I spoke to one of the group members from South Africa, Dr. Salomon Hoogenraad-Vermaak. Dr. Salomon Hoogenraad-Vermaak, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the BRICS Africa Channel. Let's begin with understanding what the purpose is of the Anti-Corruption Working Group.
This working group was established in 2015, and the main task is to address corruption on the international level. So they're guided by the United Nations Convention Against Corruption that was established in 2003, which is the only legally binding international anti-corruption instrument.
So how did the first meeting go in Russia last month? What were the areas of focus?
So the first meeting that was held from the 17th to the 18th of April 2024 really went very well. It was the first meeting where all the new members of BRICS also came together, and that is now Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. It was a high-level meeting which was opened by Mr. Sergei Vershinin, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. And he opened the meeting by focusing on especially enhancing asset recovery across borders, which is one of the chapters of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. And he also alluded to the fact that we need to look at strengthening international cooperation amongst the BRICS group to fight corruption, but also to build capacity for the competent authorities to fight corruption. And now that competent authorities is the prosecutors and the investigators. And then also to, as a group, look at the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption.
Talk to us a little bit more about asset recovery. I believe that there was a special event that took place on that.
Yes, asset recovery is, as I indicated, it's one of the chapters of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, and it's also becoming all the more important as a focus area based on the use of cryptocurrencies and other virtual assets to launder ill-gotten gains, and also because it's considerably easier to increase your anonymity when illicit activities take place, or for accomplices to trace them and to get the stolen assets back. So there was a number of presentations that took place from the members, and the idea was to present case studies that we can learn from one another, but also as a group that we can explore the challenges of the competent authorities to face cross-border movement of virtual assets, which are actually the proceeds of crime. Also to discuss ideas on how to establish efficient cooperation in the framework of mutual legal assistance to counter the movement of assets abroad and to ensure their return, but also to discuss the most acute and common challenges that we experience as a BRICS group in asset recovery processes, and to elaborate on a list of maybe possible recommendations that we as a group can work towards.
So, I mean, you've spoken about the BRICS members, especially the new ones as well. Why is this process important for South Africa?
The process is important for South Africa. I think one can indicate it in three ways. The first way is the practical experience that we gain, not in terms of only networking, but exposure to good practice and initiatives. And that always helps the investigators and the prosecutors, especially with newly identified crimes, such as cryptocurrency crimes that's becoming complex day by day. Also the use of new technology, AI, in investigations, capacity building on burning issues such as asset recovery, and then also as a group to contribute towards the curriculum for the Anti-Corruption Academy, which is based in Vienna, and any person that is involved in corruption can attend those courses. Then secondly, I think it's also important for us in terms of sharing our knowledge with the BRICS group, such as the way that we do civil litigation procedures around asset recovery and the use of the SIU. But also when we work with our Africa counterparts, how we can strengthen them by sharing this knowledge and sharing this experience with them. And lastly, I think as a group, we're in a better position to influence the working of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, where we can make sure that the review mechanism is implemented properly and it's implemented better than current implementation, so that we can see the success of the United Nations Convention.
Listening to you, I think you may have answered this next question of mine, and it really speaks about how BRICS countries actually can help each other combating corruption. What happens? What are the levers? How do you do this?
The way that the working group is set up actually is the best model for me in terms of international cooperation. The countries come together, there's brainstorming, we identify issues, we identify problems, but we also identify solutions. And in identifying it, we go then a step forward to say, how can we strengthen our capacity? How can we work together? So the sharing of the information around best practice, and especially early warning on emerging trends, is what really assists us to stay abreast of the curve so that we know what we do. And also in terms of cooperation, where we can coordinate our efforts, looking at extradition, looking at mutual legal assistance, and then, as I indicated, the capacity building part, where there's courses developed at the International Anti-Corruption Academy, and we all can share from that and get our ducks in a row for this very difficult work.
Tell us about the BRICS International Competition on Social Anti-Corruption Advertising. I mean, this sounds like a fairly important initiative.
This is a very important initiative in the sense that it's an opportunity to involve the youth, and that is from 10 years to 25 years of age, where we expose them to the concept of corruption, also indicate to them the programs around fighting corruption, but also inviting them to share their experiences around corruption with us. And this is now an art competition, one can say, where there's posters, pictures, or a video. This is the three categories: to design a poster, draw a picture, or develop a video that expresses your attitude towards corruption. And those posters we use in government for further awareness and training, where the ethics officers in the different departments has access to this and then use this, especially around the 9th of December. So the age groups are that from 10 to 15, that's the first category, 10 to 20 years, and then 21 to 25 years. They participate on a national level, and then the winners immediately goes to the international level. And then around the 9th of December, when it's International Anti-Corruption Day, the winners are announced. So the contests open the 1st of June, and the participants can then upload their artworks on www.anticorruption.life. They can get this information from the DPSA website, or they can also email molobela@dpsa.gov.za, where they can ask for more information. And South Africa has a very good track record in this regard, where in 2019, when this competition started, we had a second place in the video category by Mr. D'Angelo September, and a third place on the poster category by Mr. Mofokeng Motlale-Pule. 2020, we had a third place poster by Kulelani Tanjekwayo. 2021, we had a third place video by Mo Africa Chwene. In 2023, we had a third-place poster by Mr. Borficius Mahumapelo. Some of these posters even found their way to the United Nations, where this is now used as posters against corruption on an international level.
So this Action Working Group, what happens now going forward? What will your group be trying to achieve, and by when?
The way forward now is usually there's 2 or 3 sessions in a year. This year it's under the presidency of the Russian Federation, and the identified focus areas is asset recovery, the development of courses, and the strengthening of the United Nations Convention, and of course then the competition. So they already shared with us the Zero document, Enhanced Anti-Corruption and Asset Recovery for BRICS countries, where we started work on the developing of the draft documents, where we have started with the Anti-Corruption Working Group cooperation framework, where already there's an interest from most of the countries that's part of this group. And we've, in terms of the asset recovery, the idea is to develop a practical guide or a module on asset recovery that the BRICS group can use. And this will also then be shared with the International Anti-Corruption Academy for the privilege of all the other people who would be interested in that. And then also there will be one special session again where we will sit and talk about the issue of sport corruption, and that will be June, the 6th to the 7th of June. And in the year, possibly around August, there will be a session where we will look at the possible improvements on the effectiveness of the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. So there's a tight schedule ahead, and we all look very much forward to that.
Well, we certainly look forward to the important work that you're doing, playing out, because it is in the best interest of all of us. Dr. Salomon Hoogenraad-Vermaak, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for joining us on the BRICS Africa channel.
Thank you, sir. Same here.